Hey y'all, Mike with Cardboard Kingdom. Welcome back to another Disney Lorcana market update video. Today is the 3rd of March. Hope you all are doing fantastic. I'm doing amazing. Happy Archazia Island week. Very, very excited for Friday. Cannot wait to get out there and play some Lorcana, open some packs, get the new set in our hands. I cannot wait, right? I'm giddy with excitement for Friday to hang out with my friends, open some product, play some games, and then come home and do the same thing with my family. I cannot wait. So, with that being said, today's video is going to be about, this excitement that I have. Hopefully it's, palpable coming through the screen. We need to err on the side of caution with a lot of these cards. And so we'll talk about Archazia Island as a set, expected value, and just kind of tempering our expectations. Now, before we get into that, I did want to do a fun science experiment here. So there was a D23 Expo, this tab here, I have not looked at it. It's a 2022 Elsa PSA 10, so one of the most valuable cards in the entire Lorcana ecosystem hobby. I want you guys to guess what this card ended at. Now, I'll give you the parameters that I have. There was 3 minutes left last time I looked at it, and it was at $7,000 was the current bid. Now, keep in mind, these have been going for around 7,200. The last couple auctions have ended around that, and this auction, some of the worst timing I've seen on an auction in a while. I mean, we're talking a Monday morning auction finish like that. Like, there's very few other times where people are like busier than Monday morning. Like, that's like the start of the week. People are worried about work and what's right to do this look like. Going into the list, they're not looking for cards on eBay. So just some amazingly terrible timing on this auction. So 7,000 was the last price that I saw 3 minutes ago. I think that it's going to end around 7,250 would be my guess. If it finishes below that, I think that's strictly due to the auction just being at a terrible time. But I want you guys to comment where you think this card will land before we look at it. So please pause the video, go look real quick, and then we'll look at the tab here. So I think it's going to end around 7,250. If it's below that, I blame the seller for a terrible auction. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. It ended at 7,000, just a straight up 7K. Only 3 bids, and it ended at 7,000. This person might have done like a 24-hour auction. I mean, what a terrible auction. What they got lucky that it got 7,000. Only 3 bids. That's insane. So, I mean, I guess if the first person just bid 7,000, then there wasn't a lot of, move up, right? If there was kind of a minimum bid there. But 7,000 is where it ended at Monday morning. Once again, just a terrible auction to terrible time to auction a card. Shout out BM80065. Not the best work in my opinion, but 7,000 for the card. Once again, that speaks to just the sheer grail potential of this particular card that an auction like this is still commanding $7,000 for that card. So, okay. Going back to Archazia Island, back to the point of this video, you'll see that there are already sales for a lot of these cards for Archazia Island. And I want to always, anytime we do a set release, I like to bring up this example to just kind of bring everyone back to kind of a level mindset and playing field. The Minnie Mouse from Ursula's Return, the day before release for that set, there was a Minnie Mouse Enchanted. Someone paid $600 for a Minnie Mouse Enchanted the day before Ursula's Return was released. Now, at the time, Ursula's Return was thought about very well. People liked, well, let me rephrase that. I like the Enchanteds a lot. The community sentiment wasn't as high as what it is for like Archazia Island, for example. But there were people who liked the cards, and the Minnie Mouse being obviously one of the most popular IPs in all of Disney, one of the most popular characters. I think people were speculating that this card might do very well. Now, obviously, this card was never going to be a $600 card. It likely will never, quite literally, never be worth $600 in the existence of all of Lorcana. This person paid $600 for this card. Since then, I think the card is now worth like $60 to $70. Obviously, completely lit their money on fire. At the time when I saw it, before the set was even released, I was, publicly saying like, hey, this was a mistake. Do not do this. Now, I say that to bring us back to Archazia Island. We have, for example, the Aurora here. Waking Beauty, absolute gorgeous Enchanted. Love the card. 10 out of 10 art, like amazing character. Princess, it's got all the things going for it, right? I absolutely love this card. Now, it has a sale at $400. Is this card going to be a $400 card? No. It is going to go well below that. It is going to be in the 100s to 200s. We've seen Snow White go below 100. So the floor for this card is probably like $75 is the absolute lowest it can go. Paying $400 for this card is not smart whatsoever. It is going to be below $400. There's only one set card that is above $400, and that's Elsa, the chase of the entire Lorcana ecosystem. So I would not pay $400 for this card. I would not even pay $300 for this card. I wouldn't pay $200 for this card. This card is going to be less than most likely $200. It could be more than that, but definitely less than $400, definitely less than $300. So moving on, the Tamatoa has a sale for $300. Now, I have been very, I've commented on this card multiple times. This is my chase for the set. I value this card very, very much. I like 10 out of 10 in terms of like how much I can value a set card. This is about a 9. Like this card hits basically everything for me. And so when I look at this card and see that it's selling for 300, I still think that that's overpriced. Now, different from Aurora, this card is not going to be a $400 card. There's no chance. Now, Tamatoa, it in theory could be a $300 card. Depending on how much Archazia's Island is out there and what they've done in terms of print runs, things like that, there's a world where I could see this card being a $300 card. Now, I would not pay $300 for this card on release day. I think that it is going to go below that. And I wouldn't sell a copy for $300 either, but I want 4 of this card. I've been very adamant about that, very vocal about that. But this card is not going to be a $300 card. I think this card, its maximum upside, probably something in lines with Mufasa from Shimmering Skies. I think it would probably follow a similar track record of that card, somewhere between $200 to $300 in terms of overall enchanted value. Now, a card that is, once again, nowhere near what it's actually going to sell for. We have a Glass Slipper listed for $289.40, and we have a sale at $200 that has already been confirmed on the 1st. This is not a $200 card. I would not pay $200 for this card. I certainly would not pay $289.40 for this card. The floor on this card is probably like $50 to $60. High end, maybe like $150. So this is a card, once again, that as Archazia's Island comes out, guys, while I love the set and I think it's going to do very well, and I cannot wait to get my hands on some of these Enchanteds and build my deck and play the game, etc., these boxes and these cards are going to come down in value. That's just the simple supply and demand. The supply is going to go up, demand's going to come down, and that's that, right? That's just how these markets work whenever these sets are first released. So this card, once again, it's probably closer to like a $75 card. Do not pay damn near $300 for this card. So that's my kind of story on the individual cards. Every card that you see here will filter out to just the singles here real quick. The 99.9% of the cards on this screen are going to come down in price. The only ones that are going to be going up and maintain a higher price than what you see here are the ones that are going to break the meta. That people put together a deck and say, hey, this card is a 4 of, I need to have this card. And then we're going to see the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollar daily volume coming into these cards, and that's going to push the price higher. 99% of these cards are going to go down in price over time as the demand goes down and as the supply increases. So just keep that in mind as you're looking at these cards and as you're opening them. Now, there are instances where we might have a legendary, I always look at Bell, Hidden Archer now that we have this example. Bell, Hidden Archer from Rise of the Floodborn Legendary was available for $2 for a very long time. We then get a Bell in this set that makes sense as a shift option for that card, or that card's a Floodborn. We got a viable shift option in this set. Bell is now a $12 card. And so that 5 to 6x in price came off the back of a new card coming into the meta that made sense for that card. So if you pull a legendary in Archazia's Island that they feel like, hey, this has some decent run long term, like if we get a set that if we get a card that mixes well with this card could maybe be a $5 card or a $10 card. You don't have to sell it, right? If you have the time and you're able to sit on these cards, I would definitely recommend doing so. If you feel like a card is undervalued, it might be, right? And so I would definitely recommend waiting in those particular cases. So that's the story on the individual cards. Do not FOMO in. Proceed with caution, right? These cards are going to be readily available. They're set cards in a popular game. There's the chances are definitely going to have value, right? Timoteo, once again, somewhere in that $200, $300 range, I think the set overall is going to do very well. But just proceed with caution. Don't let my excitement for the set and for the release day and all of that fool you into, FOMOing into any sort of, low listed quantity card that at the end of the day, it's that quantity is going to go up and the price is going to go down. Now, switching over to the sealed side of things, this is an interesting use case because we're seeing 112 for a booster box right now and volume starting to pick up. So we're 69, 71, 77, 69, and we're starting to see a lot of traction every day. This is just, this morning, what is that? Like 10 boxes have sold this morning for Archazia Island for pre-order. Now, once again, keep in mind, if you're not familiar, these boxes don't come out until 2 weeks after the LGS release. This is a cushion that Ravensburger has built in on purpose to give the LGSs time to sell their product, to get people like myself and my friends into their stores to participate in events, get promos, etc., as just a kind of foundational piece to provide them liquidity and to sell their product. So this 2 week time frame is crucial for the price of this box because I've said it time and time again, if you're going to be opening this to try and collect enchanted and sell the singles, the best time to do that is this 2 weeks leading up to the 21st, because at that point the supply is going to get higher and higher and higher every day. That's going to drive the expected value of the box down overall. In the beginning, there might be some early tournaments and things like that where the demand is high but the supply is low, and so you're going to get the most for a lot of your singles. And so 112 for a box is fair, and I think there's a good chance that when we get to the 21st, our expected value for the box is still above 112. But I would wait on purchasing lists because I think better times are ahead for this box. When we compare this box against historical boxes from previous sets like Azurite Sea, Shimmering Skies, Ursula's Return, Into the Inklings, etc., all of those boxes are available right now for around $100. I have no reason to think, while I love Archazia Island, I maintain the framework that things are usually not as bad or as good as you think they are. And so Archazia Island probably going to be available around $100, right? So I would advise, especially if you're buying, if you just want one box and you want to buy it, $112, go get it. I don't think it's going to get like that much cheaper than $112. But I don't know print runs. I don't know how many is available. So if you're getting a lot of boxes, I would say wait till we get closer to the 21st, and I'll continue to let you guys know what the expected value shakes up to be from the first 2 weeks of this release. I'll be doing most likely daily videos throughout that process, kind of updating you on where cards stand and where the expected value of the box stands, because it's highly relevant in the first 2 weeks of a particular release. This is the most, once again, that I've ever allocated to a set, and I'm worried that it's not going to be enough for what I need and what I think is available on the market. But I'm taking my own advice, erring on the side of caution and just sticking with what I ultimately pre-ordered. So I know my LGS, they have taken all listings off the website because they are essentially sold out. They are saving a little bit for the day of the event, but by and large they have sold through everything that they have available for pre-sale. So their website is essentially zeroed out for any sort of booster box cases, which is nice to see. That just, overall demand is growing. And hopefully the cards are still readily available and people can get them, and it's not like a scalping situation. Because, once again, guys, just I'll keep this brief because I talk about it a lot. But in order for Lorcana to work long term, and if you're a sealed investment kind of like speculator, this does not work if people do not become entrenched in the game. The game is the core piece. That is why Magic and while Pokemon can have the investment space that they do, because people have already invested in the game, in the IP. They become entrenched in it and they want more of it, time after time. And that's evolved from generations from 90s kids like myself to people who are half my age still want Pokemon, right? That is on the back of creating a successful game. Same thing with Magic. It has a 30-year track record of people playing the game religiously. Archazia or Lorcana does not work if that does not happen. If everyone just buys these boxes and speculates on them and keeps them sealed, the game will die. That's just point blank. That is the extent of that. Is pretty much the only way that Lorcana will die at this point. If too much scalping and stuff like that happens, and I say die, it's not going to die. It will go through regressions and things like that, bad cycles, bad sentiment, if things like that were to happen. So I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Archazia's Island. I hope that my LGS isn't, like, obviously I have a big allocation, but I'm going to be opening every single box that I get on release day. I definitely do not look at these things in terms of like collectible like assets or anything like that until they're significantly out of print. And we don't even know if first chapter's out of print, right? So right now, the only sealed set that I'm truly speculating on, I have some Floodborn, and I have a decent, in terms of my opinion, a decent sealed position in the first chapter. But beyond that, like, I have a sealed case of Into the Inklings, and that was like probably the worst play I've made in Lorcana yet, because I bought multiple cases at release. I kept one sealed, and in reality I should have opened it to sell the singles and do what I do with every other product. That was a good learning opportunity. But like, in terms of buying Archazia's Island on release day to keep sealed, I don't think there's much of that going on. I hope that continues, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people now in the TCG space see what's happening with Pokemon, and it's become a lot more, it's become, honestly profitable to just buy sets and keep them sealed. That is not the case for Archazia's Island or for Lorcana yet. And I think, honestly, a lot of the speculators are gone at this point. I think that at the beginning for the first chapter, there was this huge scalping, and it almost ruined it, right? We needed a huge reprint, and we haven't seen that need yet for another set, which is good. And that signals to me, just through whether it's my comments or interactions I've had with people, like, I get the sentiment that a lot of the people who were here simply to just speculate in the beginning are gone. They weren't truly fans. They just thought, hey, it's got the mouse on it, this might go to the moon, so I'm going to buy some. It didn't. They sold, and now they're back in Pokemon with their MMA gloves, fighting for a new release, or paying 5x, the normal price of a new release. By the way, if you buy Pokemon, like, be careful. Like, just know that these boxes, every single Pokemon set ever released has been available at MSRP at some point or lower. This is no different. I do think we're in a very unique scenario with the rip and ship stuff. I mean, there's the amount of packs that are going to be ripped today is probably more than 99% of the days since Pokemon has existed. Like, the demand for Pokemon is just insane, right? And that brings a lot of favorable things from a financial point of view. There's definitely, look, if you're looking to speculate and make money, Pokemon is the place to do it. There's no doubt about it. I think a lot of that has gone from Lorcana, which has to happen. We have to go through organic growth cycles like this for the game to actually to have any sort of long-term potential. This has to happen. So I'm very grateful for it, right? I've maintained from the start of my channel here that I'm a buyer in this market. I'm selling some cards here and there. Had some auctions in this week that performed very well. But at the end of the day, I'm a buyer in this market overall, without a doubt. So with that being said, guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Pretty quick one here, not even 20 minutes. We like that. We'll continue to keep you guys updated on market prices and things like that throughout the week, especially as we get into Archazia's Island. That expected box value is a key indicator to me on if I should get more boxes, if I shouldn't. And so obviously I'll be continuing to share that information with you guys as it comes into me. So thank you very much for watching. We'll be back with another video soon. Bye.